You may have a project that you're working on in Cinema 4D where you need to take some sort of a spline shape and fit it to some sort of a contour piece of geometry. In this case, we have a bit of text, and you can see it's just flat text, and we want to actually have it fit along this piece of fairing here. So we want it to fit on this curved piece, and this is curved in multiple directions, so it's very complex. So instead of trying to fit this in there manually, there's actually an option here in Cinema 4D that will allow us to do this really, really quickly. So we've got this as just text, so we need to convert this to an editable state, so we'll go ahead and do that. So now we have a spline, and I've just pulled this out and put it sort of in position of where I wanted it to go. I want it to kind of be projected along in this direction. So we can access this option, and it's called Project. We can do this by right-clicking once we're in our point mode, and we can go to Project, or we can come up here to Mesh, Spline, and choose Project. Now we have just a couple of options here. The most important option is going to be how what plane the spline is projected along. So in this case, we already have it selected as ZY plane, meaning that it's going to be projected along the X on this ZY plane. It's going to move in that direction, and when it hits geometry, it's going to be projected onto that. Okay? And so you have other options in here depending on how your model's oriented. You could use the XY plane. You could even use the view if you wanted to, depending on, if you want to kind of get in there and project it based on how you are looking at it through your camera. You can do that as well. So once you have the plane selected, all you have to do now is hit Apply. And now you can see that that spline, well, it was completely flat, is now smooth and following along with the geometry that we have here. We can go ahead and select that, and if we take a look at it, it's following nicely along with that contour. Okay, now right now it's just a spline, but if you want to now add geometry to this, all you have to do is go in and you can add an extrude NURBS to give a little geometry in here. Obviously we don't want the geometry to flow in that direction, so we can give a little bit of thickness here, and then if you wanted to, you could come in and tweak the caps. You'd want to go ahead and just set this to something much smaller, but then you can get some geometry in there, get it nice and a little beveled look there. But the point is that if you have something like a logo, or if you had some text like this, or even something like wires or cables that you've drawn out, and you want to actually draw and slap them onto something that some sort of complex curved shape, then you can do that using Project. So just remember to take your spline, and then you can right click. You want it to be editable, and right click on that, get in point mode, right click on it, then you can go to Project, or you can access it through Mesh, Spline, Project, and that'll allow you to get your custom splines projected onto complex contour geometry. So next time you have a project in Cinema 4D that requires that kind of a shape, make sure to check that out, make it part of your Cinema 4D workflow. Alright, that's today's top tip. Make sure to check back often for more.